Alright, welcome everybody. We are at the Nations Cup once again, and we're starting today, I believe, into Group D. So we currently have Team Russia going up against Poland 2. Now, guys, let me get this out of the way immediately before we're starting into this, because there's always a couple of Karens that are jumping on the train right away and want some virtue points and complain about Russia being in the tournament. Let me make this very clear. I am not going to punish players that have been in the Heroes of the Storm community for 10 years, that have actively been contributing to Liquipedia and helping out with other things for something their government does. I know that a couple of people will be upset about this, but we made the decision. Again, I'm not going to punish these players. It's not a responsibility, and I'm not going to hold them accountable for that. So I'm totally happy letting people participate in an event like this that have been part of the Heroes of the Storm community for a long, long time right now. If you want to be mad about this, be mad about it. That's just what we're doing here. So they are allowed to play, and so is everybody else. So that's all I'm going to say about this. With that said, let's jump into the game. We have a best of 3 series on our hands. We're starting today with Haunted Mines. And it should actually be a pretty interesting match in and of itself, because we're starting into a new group. We're figuring out a little bit who is the top dog. And when we're talking about Poland 2, for example, as you can see from the screen right now, we have actually a couple of really, really strong players over on the side of the Polish team. Now, I explained a little bit how exactly all of these numbered teams come together, because with the Nations Cup here, teams were able, or countries were able to sign up multiple teams, which means that we have, for example, Germany and France with 3 teams each. Poland, I believe, also has 3 teams. And every single time that we have multiple teams for a country, we're numbering them, and the lowest number means you have the highest seed. So Poland 1 would be, on paper at least, the strongest Polish team. Poland 2 could surpass them, but when we're talking about the initial seeding into the tournament, they came in as the 2nd seed of the country. So that explains a bit when you see different Polish teams, how they come together here. And in total, we had 28 teams. 28 teams representing 17 countries, so super happy with how many people signed up. This was an open tournament, so anybody could sign up. You could have signed up a team with a couple of friends. Doesn't matter what skill level you play at. And we're very, very happy with the turnout, and of course also with how many countries are currently represented here, including Brazil, UAE. We have 2 USA teams, so it's pretty awesome. But going into game number 1, we have Haunted Mines coming up, so that in and of itself is already a little banger. We currently have Junkrat and Hogger drafted for the team in blue, whereas over on the side of Team Poland, we're starting things off with Chromie, Rhaegar, and Urel. Now, this time Sylvanas was banned out. We talked about her a few times already in the context of Haunted Mines and how strong she can be here, but in this case, teams have adapted to that now and banned her out immediately. Also important to note that we are on the new patch right now. Blizzard released the new patch, which had some pretty crazy changes as well, of course. And this is now the first weekend where we have the patch live and where teams in a competitive environment, in a tournament environment, play on the new patch. So we'll see what kind of impact that has as we're going through, with, of course, new talents coming in, a couple of reworks. So we'll keep an eye on that. Currently, we got Malfurion and Tyrael thrown out over on the left team side, whereas for the red team, we are still waiting for the main tank, for example. There's a couple of crazy quests that are now coming through too, but it should be interesting. It should really be interesting. It's always cool when you have a new patch coming in and then all of a sudden tournament day hits, you know, and everybody is attempting to adapt to it. We got ETC and Greymane, so the Wolf Pack is united on the red team side. Team Poland in also their traditional colors over here. As over on the left, what are we going to get for the Russians? They still need a bit of a damage dealer. I mean, Junkrat already a pretty good tool to have, but obviously Hogger's going to run the side lane for them, so suffice it to say that they're likely to get a second damage dealer in for game number 1. $10,000 are on the line. We are in the group stage right now, and they're going full Overwatch on the last pick as well. So it's Hanzo that joins us. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 1. Let's get this party started. We got Russia against Poland on Haunted Mines. Game number 1, over on the left side of Haunted Mines, we got Team Russia with Renella on Malfurion. Panda J is playing Tyrael for the blue team. We got Ubi on Hogger, Murenas on Hanzo, and a player on Junkrat. Over on the right side, it's kind of crazy, by the way, to me, that this is the 2nd Polish team. It just shows how strong Poland is as a country in the Heroes esports scene. We got Bronek on Rhaegar, Birchu on ETC, Richu is playing Urel, Cesabos on Greymane, and Alvaros on Chromie. So, let's get the show on the road and see which team is able to take the lead in this. It should be a very, very cool match. I'm really looking forward to it because this is Group D and we're just now starting into this group in the tournament. We have Russia, Poland, Austria and Finland represented in the group. And it's going to be a battle for the #1 spot and for the #2 place, obviously. In case you're not aware of it, we have... Oh, careful. Is that kill #1? Is that first blood? Seems like it. That could be Junkrat, and he gets murdered. Poland coming in with first blood. Napierdalai. Nicely done. Great job. But as I was about to say, we have 7 groups in total. 28 teams have signed up. 7 groups with 4 teams each. And the first place out of each group directly advances to the next round of the tournament. We still want to determine an 8th team to advance though, which means that the second place teams in each group play out a last chance qualifier for that final spot. So it is fairly important that even if you're not in a position where you can take the first place in a group, you at least go in and try to take the #2 so that you have another shot to stay in the tournament and fight for the pizza money, for the prize money here. But well, as we're going in, we all now have the 1-0 kill advantage for the red team. Now obviously a couple of camps were claimed in the meantime, 1 camp each. Nice root on the ground here by Renella. And yeah, mine soon to be opened up. And I'm pretty curious to see how they're going to play this one out. This should be kind of fun. Now, also keep in mind that there was obviously a change with the watchtowers. So watchtowers are now automatically going unclaimed after a while. I believe the time is at 45 seconds, after which they turn neutral again, and then you have to recapture them. So when it comes to map control in Vision, you have to now be a bit more diligent about actually moving on the map and making sure that you're controlling these spots, or they will eventually go neutral and you will lose that vision right there. So there's a lot of changes that came in with the patch, especially on the hero side. Some things that will affect ARAMs a little bit more, that will affect the typical solo queue games a bit more, and then obviously also the meta will be impacted by it as well for tournaments. In that context, by the way, I want to highlight again that tournament meta is very, very different from what you're experiencing in your typical solo queue. The margin of error in a tournament environment where everybody is in voice, where teams practice together, where teams are just completely in sync, or try to be, is much, much smaller than anything that you experience when you're randomly solo queuing, even if you do it with a couple of friends. So the tournament level is much, much higher. But of course, since this is an open tournament, it also means that we have all levels of players that signed up for it. Now the 2 teams at hand right now, they are actually fairly strong. There's a couple of Masters, Grandmasters in there. So we have some contenders for the first and second spot in the group already. Austria and Finland, who will play later on in Group D, will of course try to upset this. But these are very likely 2 of the teams that have a shot of getting out of the group, or at a minimum take second place. Mines are opened up already. In this case, we have some points taken down at the bottom of the map as the teams are slowly starting to grab a couple of skulls here. I have to admit that I still enjoy seeing Haunted Mines. We obviously threw the map in for the tournament. We thought it would be a cool idea to just have it represented here. And while it is not the most played map, we get it every now and then from some of the teams. And the games that we've seen so far on it, I kind of enjoyed them. So at least from a viewer's perspective, I think this adds some nice variety in, as they're trying to go for Greymane, but that entrance was of course locked down quickly by the red team. Look at that control, and there's the kill. They want the second after they take down Hogger. They're moving in for Tyrael. The golem at the bottom of the map already attacked too, and they were able to get themselves some additional skulls, but currently Team Poland is in the lead, and we'll see how much they're going to get out of it. 2 kills to 0 for them. Oh, and Team Russia is having some problems with Hanzo as well. So Hanzo's down. That's the 3rd kill for the red team. And Team Poland stepping it up big time over here. 3 kills to 0 as we're moving towards the 5-minute mark. And that's a pretty neat first golem that they get. 68% to the 32% that we're getting for the blue team. So they can start pushing with their own. And yeah, some of the control plays that we're seeing here are solid. Junkrat trying to escape, having some trouble, but able to get out, especially with Renella coming in again and helping out his teammate. The level 7 talents kicking in for both teams at the same time. Despite the advantages that we've now seen for Team Poland, the Russians are in experience exactly on the same level. Pick up their talents at the same speed. bit of a lead in minion experience for them. But now, of course, this could already start to upset the balance a little bit. This is only the first golem, so not really scaling that hard into the later stages of the game. But we'll actually see how much damage they can do on that fort. Oh, Bronic! Careful over here. Yeah, that was some real pressure on Rhaegar. And is currently still threatening him. He is fairly low in HP and has to be super careful with his positioning right now. Can't really go in too deep. But they're getting a stun out on Tyrael. Golem still doing damage. Greymane is defending at the top, and the blue team's golem is nearly destroyed. As down here, the fort is now down to 30, 25, maybe 20% of its HP. So that's a pretty solid start into game number 1 now for the Polish team. With Greymane, they also have a fantastic tool, obviously, to get themselves some additional hits in at the mercenary camps. On the other side, you have Hogger with a similar job description, so he needs to try and make sure that he's getting as many of these as possible too. Lock those camps in quickly. But, yeah. Same time now, we have Birchu sitting all the way up here at the top, and they're looking to destroy the fort at the bottom of the map from the looks of it. Yeah, they're really just looking for the next kill and opportunity, and with Chromie they have the ult, they're trying to get a lock on and nearly destroy Tyrael, but Panda J is able to get out. At the top lane, Urel against Hogger, so that battle still continues, with Hogger having the assist from the Siege Giant camp. Again, the Vision camps, something to keep an eye on, because those are going to get lost again. This is definitely one of the changes, but I'm not quite sure how much of an impact this is going to have, at least on a competitive level. Most teams will be diligent about this. But Tyrael might be in trouble here. Renella, good assist, gets the root on the ground, shuts them down. But once that we hit level 10 abilities, things are gonna get interesting at this point. So, yeah. Especially when we're talking Tyrael, because he could very well go into Judgment, and they could try to go for some pretty aggressive moves. Judgment into a Hanzo arrow, follow up from Junkrat, maybe even, or Horda pulled. Shockwave would give you more CC. Horda pulled would give you a couple of tools to be aggressive and jump into the backline, of course. But if you're just trying to stack some stuns, they could go into a Shockwave instead. But Horda pulled it is, and there is Judgment. Plus we get also the arrow. So ults on both sides. Immediately the attack. Ancestral already coming out, but the Riptire. Tyrael, he's the first one to get eliminated. Greymane shortly after that. It's a trade for the two teams, but the Russians walk away with the Pumpkin camp. They are able to get the Mercenary camp, and now everybody is just resetting back on the lanes. But this is the first kill for the blue team. First one that they were able to take down. Greymane eliminated, and now down in the mines we have once more Junkrat starting to get some skulls for the blue team. So Poland trailing on this. A little bit behind when it comes to that. When we're looking at just the raw numbers on experience, the noteworthy part is really that they are in most areas very even. There's a mercenary advantage currently that we're seeing. Oh, Junkrat gets hit by Crow. Oh, he's dead, yeah. Yes, no chance. Absolutely no chance. There's the mosh pit against Hanzo, and Poland picks up 2 more kills. Nice. Job well done. Ah, good shit. 6 kills to 1. Mercenary experience, mercenary experience, yes, is indeed in the hands of the blue team, but we have a lot for Team Poland when it comes to just the raw hero XP that they were able to get thanks to the additional 5 kills that they already locked in throughout the game. Now, on top of that, of course, it is another big objective that we're getting here, but Hogger is using the time at the top lane to trigger the Inspire buff on his own minion wave as he's attempting to shut down the fort a bit more. So, in experience, they're not really too far behind, but the problem is really that the next objective might become an issue. And this time we're talking topside spawn for the Golem. Obviously alternating. Arrow, ooh, completely missing. Yeah, but the fight is still raging on, and Panda J is gone. Panda J eliminated, the explosion only hitting Rhaegar. And this far, at least, this entire combo attempt that we're getting from Team Russia has not really done too much for them. I mean, the idea is clear. Judgment, follow up by Hanzo's arrow in an ideal world. Riptire to boot. Malfurion with a root on the ground. So you have some really nice tools if you can isolate a target and really home in on it. but they haven't been able to make that happen yet. So right now, we are seeing Poland just dominating most of the team fights, and this is eventually going to give them a pretty big lead here. Now, Hanzo barely able to jump out before he gets rooted into the ground. Level 13 talents are this time available a little bit faster for Team Poland. They're half a level ahead in experience by now. And they are still pushing at the top as Greymane is the only defender at the bottom of the map. So Greymane defending and easily shutting down that golem, even though the fort has taken some damage. Top side though, not as much as I thought. Team Russia is doing pretty okay here. Fort might fall. It's really close. But so it is at the bottom of the map. So both teams are fairly low here. The watchtowers are getting taken again, and we're talking mercenaries, of course. They now have decent vision on that. They're keeping Hogger at bay as they claim the pumpkins, but the blue team is doing the same thing up at the top. For now, we got 30,000 damage for Chromie, 25,000 for Hanzo, and as already mentioned, down at the bottom of the map, we're looking at a push from the red team, and thanks to the pumpkins, they're going to shut this down pretty quickly. So that's one fort destroyed, and as it happens, this is actually the first one in the game that gets eliminated here. Siege Giants also taken, so they're moving on those. And then in the meantime, we now have, at the top, the next camp attacked as well by Team Russia. Outside of the kills in these team fights, I gotta say, when it comes to structures and mercenary camps, in a lot of circumstances, really just blow for blow. Each team takes one. Now we have the fort top side also destroyed, which means that the red team is pulling a bit farther ahead. Team Russia hasn't really been able to eliminate the one at the bottom of the map. Quick arrow against ETC. He might be in trouble here. Bircher gets the Ancestral as he slides out. Rest of the red team is also on the move, but Uriel gets booped back in. Has already used her ult and is able to escape as ETC joins back in to push everything away, get himself and his team a bit more breathing room, and then retreat quickly. The blue team with Judgment, and they take Rhaegar down. Lose Hanzo on the progress, though. Every time they get a kill, there's a counter kill happening shortly after. So that's again a trade between the two of them. And the leading experience has by now been extended to nearly a level. Tyrael had to retreat here. Mines are going to be active in another 8 seconds, which means it's time for more skulls. And of course, as the objective scales into the later stages of the game, these golems will become stronger and stronger. One of the reasons why Sylvanas can be extremely powerful in the map. But look how quickly they are on the camps. Greymane is chunking this down super quickly. And they have 53 skulls, 55 skulls already, which is of course a huge advantage. So even if the red team would be able to win a team fight here and go for the big one, they would trail significantly. All they were able to get was one of the smaller camps, so they're sitting at 9 skulls, whereas the opponent already holds 63. So no matter what happens in the lower levels, it's gonna be a big golem for Poland. They're gonna be pretty happy with this. Yeah, arrow out, but connects this time with ETC. The follow-up isn't quite there, though. So they're making some of the plays where they're attempting to force a fight and initiate it, especially before level 16 hits for their opponents. But they're not really able to follow that up with a quick kill. And therefore, it's essentially just a cooldown wasted. They're obviously trying to make some plays here, so they gotta make some risky moves. Because now they're again behind in talents. That's a 16 talent with a half-level advantage, so it's not really too shabby. We're getting, for example, Templar's Verdict over here. Rhaegar, of course, with the Earth Grasp Totem is now essentially finishing the synergy with his build. And it's time to go for the big one at the bottom of the map. They can get some extra skulls here, and they are. Blue team is still trying to pander. And, well, the one thing that the Russian teams were always known for is that they are not really afraid to fight against a team that has a numbers advantage or a talent advantage if they get a good opportunity. If they see an angle, they will go for it. They will push it and they will just try to take him out there. That was always their playstyle, and it worked in the past in so many tournaments well for them. But Poland is playing this incredibly smart. They are... Oh, Judgment! The arrow! Order pulled! And ETC is down, and so is Rhaegar. That was well done. That was really well done, just as the objective is taken. And it kind of illustrates, again, how often the Russian teams are able to use these aggressive plays to bring themselves back into the game. So this was a pretty cool move. Everybody was already retreating, and then they see one opportunity. They come in with Judgment and Hanzo's Arrow, shut down ETC. Rhaegar gets completely isolated away from the entrance shaft, and that's a double kill. So now they might have a massive golem with 88 skulls, but they can't really push with it. They will send Greymane to the top lane, most likely, and start to defend there. But down here, bit of a different story. We got the Endless Nades for Junkrat, and yep, there's the lead in experience now, funnily enough, for the blue team. Mainly because of the minion experience that they were able to secure for themselves. So in minion experience, because they also spent more time on lane and not in the mines themselves, we now have the blue team with a big edge. Now, again, experience is nearly the same, but given the big gap that we had in hero experience previously, you can see how now that underdog bonus, that comeback mechanic is also starting to trigger. Because even with just a few additional kills, the blue team has nearly caught up on hero experience too. Exaggerating slightly, it's still a gap of 1,500, but still much, much closer than before. So Yrel still in position down at the bottom of the map. As the camps are getting targeted again, we now have Hanzo with the top damage in the game on 40,000. Renella with Malfurion is the only one for the blue team that has not died yet, by the way. So he's the only one still sitting at 0 deaths. Currently 14,000 for Yrel. So as a side laner, also pretty solid damage for her. Hogger obviously is eclipsing that by a couple of thousand. But it is a close first game between the two teams here. The one thing that Team Russia is still missing is them taking out structures. And they are going to try to take those two forts. Both of them are low. And that's an opportunity to just draw a little bit more even. Make sure that the passive experience gains for the red team are not completely out of control. Top side, yeah. Yrel still jumping around here. It is a dicey one. It's game number 1. Again, first map in the group stage as well. It's the first match in Group D. And a victory here would go a long way to try and aim for that first spot that it guarantees you to reach the next phase of the tournament. Once again, we're having the skull spawn, the undead spawn at the bottom of the mines. And now we're already 17 minutes into the game. So we're really hitting a time frame where the objective is going to scale more and more aggressively. Now, obviously for now, there's the attack at the bottom of the map. Yrel completely locked down, but is still able to press at least the R button. Turns into a pirate here for just a second. And is able to survive. Tyrael then again. He gets caught and was absolutely locked down here. Couldn't move forward or past. They really gave him no chance. Panajay dies. And that means that the blue team is now down 1 player. But they're engaging aggressively back into the team fight, hoping to get a counter kill. The Ancestral had to be used to save Yrel. So the blue team got very, very close to secure themselves 2 kills. But both of them were shut down. So job well done by Team Poland. They saved Yrel. And they were also able to save the target of the last final attack here, which means that with the 4 versus 5 on the map, now we have Poland again in the mines just doing their thing. There's obviously a couple of opportunities to potentially push for structures here. They are starting to take at least control of the vision for now, but while the red team is getting 1 skull after another, the blue team is essentially just stuck at the top. They escort in some minions that they can use. With Junkrat, they can also start to attack over here and trigger that Inspire buff. Maybe take that fort out too, especially now that they have the Siege Giants claimed as well. So the fort will fall, and the one at the top lane is likely going to get destroyed as well. But the red team gets 100 skull golem right now. And that's where things get nasty, because we are now 19 minutes into the game. There is one good news for Team Russia, and that is the fact that they have nearly level 20. So with Storm Talents, they would at least be able to run a talent advantage over the opponent's team for a limited period of time. Experience should be picked up pretty quickly, though, by Team Poland. They already have Cesarbos pushing the bottom of the map, and right now they're just closing in on this. No control for Hogger. We also got Bullseye for Hanzo, and then the Lunar Shower for Malfurion. For most people, preferable to the Golden Shower. So in this case, they're talking about Hanzo. They're making a play for him, and he has no chance. Hanzo dead. The level 20 talents now on both sides, and this is spelling trouble for the blue team. They are in a dire spot here now. Down one of their heroes, especially a hero that is, of course, very, very strong at dishing out damage from a distance against a golem. So now they're in trouble. The wall is falling, and Team Poland, they are trying to push this as they should. They're moving in immediately to try and eliminate that topside keep, and honestly, I don't know what would stop them. They have to be careful that they're not losing the game here. ETC with another slide as they're going for Tyrael, and they actually get him. Greymate is able to secure that kill. That seals the fate of the topside fort, the keep, and so they can go immediately for the core. 10 seconds for Hanzo, 46 for Tyrael. With Chromie in the back, first Malfurion Force, that's Renella gone, and I guess that's all she wrote. I guess that's it. The spell broke, Russia is down, the arrow connects with Chromie in the back, but that core is falling way too quickly, and that is game. Team Poland, ladies and gentlemen, with a victory in game number 1 of the best of 3 series here in Group D. GG. I hope all of you are enjoying the Nations Cup. We have an awesome event going on right now, and it's lots of fun. Please keep in mind, though, that events like the Nations Cup, like the Bounty Cup and Meta Madness, are only possible through private supporters, through Patreon supporters, and through partnerships that we have on the channel, campaigns that we're doing with them. And right now, we actually have a campaign going on that will last for quite a bit of time, and you can right now support the channel for free by just investing a couple of minutes. It's really just taking a moment. All you gotta do is follow the instructions in the description of the video, download Opera GX through the link that you can find in the video description, and then use the browser to watch a couple of YouTube videos, maybe watch the live stream, or just some general browsing. It's already supporting the channel immediately. Again, it's a very nice browser as well. It has an integrated VPN, which is of course super helpful. You have a lot of themes going on that are targeting gamers and lots of other features. Just experiment with it a little bit, use it in your daily for a bit, and that's all you gotta do to support the stream. It's super easy, super fast, takes a minute or two, and you support not only the stream here, but also future tournaments that we're going to host. So I would really appreciate it if you could use a couple of minutes of your time to do exactly that. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and enjoy the rest of the tournament. Map number 2, everybody. We're going to Dragonshire, and Team Poland is in the lead. They have match point now and the chance to take the first victory in Group D. So, good stuff over here. And, of course, we have a draft restriction. All the 10 heroes that were played on the first map cannot be played again. Quick reminder that this is all happening on the new patch, so you might see some of the heroes that were heavily affected by the patch. Time will tell. By the way, one thing that also got affected by a couple of the meme shenanigans here, this is more so directed to the people that watch this on YouTube. Apparently, my graphics guy and one of my admins thought they'd be funny, and they put something into the shop without me telling, and apparently now we have a Khaldor Anduin Snuggle Time merch. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a limited time option, because I will delete this eventually. But if you want to have a look of what they thought would be a funny idea, then you can check out the link that is in the description of the video and check out the merch shop there, because apparently my unending love for Anduin inspired some ideas on their end, and now it's Khaldor Snuggle Time. So yes, again, link is in the description if you want to check out the merch shop there. Some people have too much time on their hands, apparently. Blaze Johanna is what we're starting up with here. So we got bans on Deathwing. He's obviously one of the heroes that got changed quite a bit in the last patch. There's actually a couple that received changes, but Deathwing banned in game number 1, now banned in game number 2. Whereas we're starting with Maiev, Thrall, and Garrosh. Damn, that front line for the Russian team is quite something. So Blaze Jojo, I really like the opening for the Polish team. They had a great first game. They have the lead in the series now. So for Team Russia, it really, I mean, they need to bring something in here in order to take this back, and they are going for full frontline aggression. With Thrall and Maiev, they have some really nice damage dealers here now too. Garrosh, of course, can create tons of opportunities for them. Question is more so going to be what the range damage will look like, because, again, Renella will, of course, lock in some support, and then it's a question of what exactly Morenas is going to take here. Now, Sylvanas gets banned out, so she's eliminated. That leaves us with a final ban for map number 2 in the best of 3 series. And let's see what exactly the blue team is afraid of here. They still don't want that hammer. All the tanks are being banned out. I believe game number 1, they banned the Sergeant as well, right? So Poland, they keep those tanks rolling, and Sergeant Hammer is not allowed in. So, yeah. That's usually just happening. That ban pattern is something we've seen a lot against the Germans, but apparently Poland is second on the list here. Now, next two picks, with the front line already secured. Blaze up the top again on Dragonshire, going up against Thrall, of course. We now have the Birdie, Falstad, and Uther. Okay, Bronick coming in with a shield. And we get some Falstad action. They're likely still going for the auto attacks with this. As over on the left side for the blue team, the final two picks. Kind of moment of truth situation. Now, typically when we're talking about Dragonshire, I would have highlighted Zagara as a potential option, but given the draft that we're currently seeing from the blue team, I guess Zagara is a lot less likely, and they are going aggressive. Renella comes in with Anna, and we get Li Ming, so they're looking for resets, they're looking for the nano boost. They really want to capitalize on those reset mechanics and try and just pop everybody on the left team side by getting those resets, the big combos executed, and hoping, of course, to tee all of that up with their front line. So we'll see how much Morenas can do here. And then over on the right side, our final pick. What are we going to get there? We get Zagara! She's coming in after all. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, map number 2, it's match point for the Polish team. We are going to Dragonshire. Game number 2. Ladies, gentlemen, let's go. Over on the left side for the Russian team. We got Anna, played by Renella. Ubi is playing Thrall. We have him on level 1 with Echo of Elements. Morenas with Li Ming. We're getting Panajay on Garrosh and then Player on Maiev. Whereas over on the right side of the map, we got Birdshoe for the Polish team with the lead currently on Johanna. Bronick is playing Uther. Cesarbos on Falstad. Blaze played by Recho. And then Alvaros on Zagara. Alvaros, also a great name, by the way. Just saying. Fantastic name. Very manly. And yeah, we'll see if they can get that 2-0 going. That would, of course, be pretty amazing for them if they were able to do that too. So, yeah, quick reminder that Thrall, he was changed a little bit too. His basic attack damage was slightly decreased, so more of a nerf. But they changed also his level 1 slightly. At least when we're talking about Echo of Elements, which was in this case, of course, taken. When we're talking about the Mythic reward now, you have also an additional bounce back to the same target that is now allowed. So this is actually quite interesting, because if you're stacking this... just imagine for a second you are chasing down 2 heroes at the same time. You have this fully completed, and then you unleash. So you actually have a lot of potential here. And let's face it, getting 100 stacks... that is not out of the ordinary. So this is something that you can definitely complete. And then in big team fights towards the end, or even smaller ones, this can give you a lot of value with that mythic reward. But of course, it's more of a late game thing. And Thrall actually dies. Thrall goes down. The counter kill on Blaze. Uther also eliminated, but it is a steal. The Russian team now coming in with that typical aggression that we're used from them as they're moving in and take the camp. They already secured their own. Now they steal the mercenary camp away from Team Poland and apply more and more pressure at the top lane as a result. So, yeah, pretty well done here. Awesome job. And that is now going to be tons of pressure through the top lane. And, yeah, this is going to be a little bit tough. Now, Falstad, we have him on level 1 with Frequent Flyer. Once again here, too. Frequent Flyer coming in. And that's the typical auto attack style that we're seeing these days from the Birdie. Obviously, like, he is a huge tool pretty much everywhere. Falstad still strong as ever. He was the big winner when it came to the Pinnacle patch back then, now renamed into Mythic Rewards, just as a side lane. The only change in the patch actually for Falstad was on his Lightning Rod build on the W. So currently have a range reduction by 5. And the time between strikes was also slightly increased. So the auto attack build for him is still in full swing, and that was the most played build in competitive play anyway. So this is the build that you essentially see everywhere, where he is also applying all the pressure throughout the game as he starts to pick up more and more single target damage. They have with Zagara a really nice push tool at the bottom of the map now. The Polish team obviously trying to bring in the aggression and win this with a 2-0. But Bronick is in trouble. Great jet propulsion. It still doesn't save Uther though. Killed by Anna. Granny went for the boomer and took him out. So Uther gone, and that's kill number 2. Yeah, Team Russia looking a little bit better here. So Game number 1 didn't really go their way. They fell behind on Haunted Mines very quickly, but now they're taking an early lead. And they're trying to get the Dragonite interrupted by Sesabos, who pays for the interrupt. A lot of his hit points, though, and has to tap the fountain. Now, we got Calamity for Thrall, also Ancestral Wrath, since he didn't go into Maelstrom weapon over here. And with 48 stacks for Falstad, the bird's doing well. Yeah, the bird's the word right now, so he is doing pretty alright. So, sitting already at the first quest reward, at least in a couple of stacks, we'll get the first 20 attack damage, and then later on pick up even more of that. But considering we're only 4 minutes into the game, that's a really nice progress for him. So, yeah, well done. Ooh! Panda J! Close call here. Garrosh in some trouble, but they keep him alive. Good for him. Thrall now with the control at the top lane again, as he reclaims the shrine. But down at the bottom of the map, Zagara is doing the same, and she has still a lot of creep tumors around that also help her out. Now, Thrall, as mentioned before, he's now sitting at 20 stacks already, which means that he is also getting some mana management improvements from the first reward. Once that he has his mythic reward, this is going to potentially be huge for him. But I still really like how Sesabos is playing this out on Falstad. Very quick stacking, very diligent on the lanes. Has his first quest reward already, and considering that there's a triple frontline on the side of the Russian team, there's a lot of aggression potentially coming in the later stage of the game, and Falstad, when kept alive by Uther, can just hammer them away one after another and going for that full single target damage. So, yeah. Top side, that's where we still have that little ring around the rosy play between Thrall and Blaze. So, yep, there we go. Down at the bottom of the map. This might actually be a problem for Zagara, because my F is now moving in, gets the tether. They want the hit. Liming trying her best, but Morenas becomes the target himself. Thrall is gone at the top lane. Liming escapes at the bottom of the map, but that was a very nice turnaround attempt here by the red team, as Zagara very quickly turned from hunter to hunter and started to turn them out. Now, all the way up at the top, we got Sesabos starting to pressure. 83 stacks now for him. The longer this lasts, the more he can stack, the better it's going to be for him. I am personally of the belief that a fully stacked and fully rewarded Falstad is going to be much better for the red team than a fully stacked Thrall for the blue team. So, yeah. There's that. Now, down at the bottom of the map, Disc is already out. We got level 10 abilities a little bit earlier. Yep, Nano Boost is in. At this point, we have the Wave of Force, for example, and we get Decimate too. Whereas topside, yeah, there comes the attack from Falstad as they fully control the lane. They're even trying to bait Thrall out a little bit, with Blaze sitting at the side just waiting for the War Chief to attack the bird, but that doesn't happen, so no jet propulsion and no attempted kill. But the pressure is now again on the Russian team. So, here comes Falstad, and he gets the Dragonite. The interrupt was a second too late. Morenas came in with his ult and the Wave of Force and missed out on it. So that's unfortunate. Well, it's unfortunate for the blue team. But we got 100 stacks now for Falstad. 33, 34 for Thrall. And Falstad is also now capitalizing on his Dragon form by getting even more stacks through the minion damage that he does. They want to try and take down the top side 4-2. That's the first one in the game. As we've already seen, the Polish team is strong. And I gotta highlight this again. This is Poland too. This is not even the first seed for Poland. Now, again, as we already iterated in a couple of the previous matches, one way how this team seeding came to pass is that we actually talked to the teams themselves and asked them for anonymous rankings that we took into consideration, since the teams have of course been scrimming for quite some time now, preparing for this event. But it doesn't mean that Poland too couldn't come in with better results than the first seed from Poland, for example. But it shows once again how strong and deep the lineup of Poland as a country actually is. So pretty impressive what they're currently doing here. They're trying to go for Panda J, and the barrel roll forward as Falstad gets another kill. That is Garrosh eliminated. Nicely done. So, yeah, good job. 3 kills to 3. Camps still claimed as well. But yeah, they're starting to go for the mercenary camps again. Falstad, I know, I'm harping a little bit hard on Falstad. I absolutely acknowledge this. But the speed at which he is currently stacking is just indicating pain for Team Russia eventually. Right now, they're even. even experience, even kills. There's a fort that got destroyed by the red team, but that's essentially all. But the single target damage from Falset will be a problem. I am curious to see how much of an impact Thrall is going to have, though. I gotta admit. He's at 53 stacks. I fully believe that he can get the mythic reward, and then I want to see how much he can do. You can see that his hero damage currently is just laughable. 6,200. He's clearly not focused on this. I mean, clearly. So it's something that we're going to see come through eventually. But it's all about the siege damage. It's all about the minion waves. The same is true with Falstad, even though he is at 13,000 damage, the top damage dealer for Team Poland. So, granted. But action in the middle, as we have Thrall still trying to join the team too. Nano boost already on Liming. They weren't able to get a kill here. Bronick survived. Had to use the Divine Shield on himself though. So Uther moving in with all of that. With level 13, we now got Sustained Winds in. We got Spell Shield. We got the next Shrine activating in the moment. And Thrall just fully capitalizing on that top lane pressure. And the camp taken by Team Poland was obviously nice to put pressure on the lane. But on the other hand, Thrall is currently in a position where he can very easily and very safely get himself a few more stacks and inch closer and closer to the next reward. He's currently sitting at 69. Nice. And he has the second reward here. So a little bit more bouncy. 30 needed to get to the mythic reward. As the Gara goes for the Maw at the bottom of the map. Should be able to follow that up with a stun. There it is. A couple more shots fired against Panda J. But not enough to really make a difference just yet. They are going for Ubi at the top though. And yeah, he's able to survive. They even had to bunker up. With Li Ming coming in here, this could still be a little bit iffy for Richu though. So they're starting to slowly move back here. Li Ming is still on the move, trying to get the kill. The fight down here is also raging on. Blaze very likely gonna die. The Gust being used. Nice! But another move forward. Richu on the run, but he gets caught eventually before he can move through the gate. And that's another kill for Team Russia. They also are breaking the control on the shrines of the red team. Had even Panda J-Sig in the middle just to interrupt a potential attempt to claim the next objective. Falstad with 155 stacks is now getting himself to the second quest reward. So more damage unlocked already. 50 additional auto attack damage. He is going to hurt that front line, for sure. Whereas Thrall is now looking at Thunderstorm. And of course, with 75 stacks to his name, he's also closing in slowly on getting a mythic reward too. So this is looking like we're going to be in for a pretty sick late game. Both of them have essentially their late game tools nearly unlocked here. With Thrall still focusing very heavily on wave clear. For good reason, of course. But at least get a bit of additional damage in. But once we're hitting the 100, I really want to see what he can do with his damage numbers. Currently, it's Li Ming with 26,000 that is running the show for them. Especially, of course, with that nano boost that we've now seen multiple times from Renella already kicking in. So there's that. Yeah, money pick action here from Jojo down at the bottom of the map. And, well, 169 stacks for Falstad. It's going to take him a while to get to the final reward. He might actually never in this game get there. But the auto attack damage is already there, as you can see. That Blessed Shield and then the follow-up from Falstad just getting the attacks in. And Panda J is just sitting there. Help! Trying to get out. But he is able to escape. Gets, of course, a lot of assists here, too. That front line that they have is scary. And just look at Thrall. 93 stacks for him. That means that he's nearly done with it. And then fights are gonna get spicy. There's the Gust and even a Divine Shield as they are... Oh, the hit! The angle! Li Ming! Beautiful kill! Morenas with a first hit against Jojo. She's down and they're eliminating Uther as well. So that is 2 taken down and, of course, 2 stacks for Thrall, and he has his quest reward. There it is. Mythic reward, as I already said, changed. So now you can actually bounce back on the same target. The same target can be hit multiple times. And that is hyper interesting when you're going up against 2-3 opponents towards the end of a fight that might try to get away from you. So now he can really focus on the hero damage. And Thrall at 13,000 will very likely start to get those numbers increased quickly. That said, we have for now. Also, a couple of additional wave clear tools for him. I mean, it's obviously a really nice tool when we're talking about camp clear as well. So this is going to speed things up for him significantly. Thrall with ease claims the hard camp by himself in a very reasonable time frame. Yeah, he's definitely like hyper powerful right now with the clear that he brings in. But with that said, we now have 1 fort destroyed on each side, and the blue team has clearly started to take a bit of momentum here. Now, we have them with a 1-level lead over the opponent's team. Team Poland still in some decent positions, looking to maybe go for Garrosh. Some easy damage, nice auto attack damage, but they don't have enough control and CC to lock him down long enough. They saved Zagara on the other hand, so she's still doing fine. And now the move towards the top in an attempt to, I suppose, take Thrall out. Who is really starting to utilize that completed level 1 quest. The mythic rewards there are looking strong, but he shouldn't be able to get... Well, maybe he's able to get out of this now that the red team is rotating in. But here comes the first flip. Falstead isn't here. That's a bit of a problem. Liming also down at the bottom of the map, so each team had only 4 at the top side battle. Liming pushing this out a bit further. And the blue team is now clearly waiting for level 20 talents. They want level 20 with us. So all coming through for Storm Talents, whereas for Team Poland, I guess the idea is the same. You want to get your experience right now to try and catch up, but the gap is significant enough that the window will be big. The blue team should definitely start thinking about what exactly they want to do in order to pull ahead on this a little bit. So yeah, they got the tools right now. Once they hit 20, they are currently trying to line up the camps at the bottom of the map. Rule of thumb on every single Heroes of the Storm map is always that you're trying to push the lane that has the most mercenary camps for the reason that you see in action right now. Because you can sync up these mercenary camps later on in the game to go for some gigantic push. And this is exactly what they're trying to do. They hit level 20 just before they have 20. They get both of the camps roughly at the same time. So now they have a double camp pushing at the map and they can go for this. You see the same theory applied on Dragonshire, on Towers of Doom. It really doesn't matter which map it is. But this is always the lane that you want to prioritize because you have more tools available to yourself later on in the game to execute these pushes. And this is what we're getting currently from the Russian team. So they have 20, they're starting to be aggressive here, and that keep is in trouble. The disc is missing, Falstead still trying to get some extra experience for the red team in the middle of the map, and of course more stacks for himself. But he needs to start joining them. There's the Gust forcing them into a fight. They're looking for a quick kill here. Cesabos needs to somehow connect with the team though, and he's having trouble with it. Uther is gone. Jojo is also dead. That's a double kill, and all of a sudden Team Poland is having a real problem at their hands. They're going to lose the keep. The question is, are they going to lose more? Poland tried to force a bit of a fight before they had their own Storm Talents, and it might actually be what costs them the game here. 8 kills, 2-3. We have the Russians with way more damage now on Thrall 2. He's fully capitalizing on the completed level 1 quest, and you can just see how Team Poland is struggling. They might just have lost the game here. They were trying to play for the late game for level 20, and they're all getting murdered. Falstead dies as well. The core loses its shield, and Team Russia is on their way to victory on Dragonshire, our second map in the best of 3 series here in Group D of the tournament. GG and well played. Game number 3, Towers of Doom, everybody. So let's get this party started. We have Group D starting up with a banger because, well, we're going down to the final map. And since things are getting exciting here, I also got myself some reinforcements. So Tim is with me as we have a Cho'Gall ban. No, why? Like, give us the Cho'Gall. Give us the double trouble.
Yeah, give us the Cho'Gall, bro. I'm here to vibe. It's Valentine's Day. I need the 2 people loving on each other. That's what it's all about here. It's what Khaldor are doing. What the
what
hell?
is happening?
Towers of Doom? Okay, all right. We're in here. We're jumping in. We have no Cho'Gall. We have no Towers of Doom. Do they hate fun?
Apparently they do. They came in and they're like, Khaldor, we hate fun. We're like the Germans. They're like, no Cho'Gall, no Vikings. Only vodka in Game 3.
Please never do that again.
I think my fake Russian accent is amazing.
Jesus Christ. I think if you did that in America, you would have gotten canceled.
I don't know opinion. I have to ask KGB first.
My God, it's like I'm watching a John Wilk film. My God, we got the villain here. He's good to go.
And then they take Brightwing.
Yeah, we got the Brightwing in and ready to go. Yes, sir. Gonna be our first pick. So catch me up on this series, and for those that may be just joining as well, it's 1-1.
Oh.
What happened in game number 1? Because I got a little bit of a remnant on game number 2, and it kind of looked like Poland had a big mistake at the end game.
Yeah, that gas there was a little bit odd. Game 1, they had a much cleaner performance. They were essentially always kind of in control. It's interesting, by the way, with the draft, now that we're talking about the previous games, because one of the bans that we had consistently from the Russian team was Sergeant Hammer. And now Poland basically decided that they would go for a very early Hammer pick because they want the Sergeant, especially for the third and final map. So they expected that it would be banned out again and take it early this time together with Anduin. So already an adjustment made in draft here. And again, quick side note to everybody watching, the 20 heroes that have been played cannot be played again. So every hero can only pick once within the series.
Well, it makes sense that the Sergeant Hammer has been on the radar for our Polish team. And then if you look at Towers of Doom, or not Towers of Doom, the Russian team, they are already setting up to be able to play around it. You have double globals for fast rotations. You have Genji who can jump in, lickety-split, and go for some quick damage and back out of the fight. Normally you want to pair that with an Anduin, but wisely, Team Poland actually picked that up as their second pick here because you want to have that light bomb combo into a Genji engage. So really interesting draft so far, as Diablo will now be taken out of the hero pool. These tanks are being focused down, Mr. Khaldor.
I talked earlier about like the stupid new merch idea that was put against my will into the shop, and now everybody is calling it Snuggledor or Snuggledin whenever Anduin is being taken. And I'm just sitting here, I'm just like, I hate myself and I hate everybody else.
Khaldor, like, it's very manly to snuggle. It's okay. People love that. It's 2026. It's not 1994, 1982, where you can't snuggle the people around you.
It depends with whom.
Is cool, bro. You can snuggle whatever you want, dude.
I would snuggle up to you, but I don't want to cheat on you with Anduin, especially not on Valentine's Day. There's a certain commitment that I made to our relationship, and I want to honor that. And I think disrespecting it the way that Rob and Rough Baby, I'm calling them out here, did is just not fair to you. Your feelings is what really is at the core of my interest here.
You do know that you're setting us up to be flamed like crazy in your YouTube comments again. My golly, the amount of haters we have.
Can these idiots focus on the draft, please?
Just focus on the game. Why are you talking about sleeping in a bed at a Motel 6? This game's been dead for 7 years. What are you doing, Khaldor?
We get a killer comp for the blue team. So they come in with Varian again, and we get Cassia. So they clearly want to go for their kills, whereas over on the right side, we get our first Deathwing right now. So we got Muradin, couple of changes with the newest patch, of course, on his side as well. Imperius and Deathwing. Well, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, final map, game number 3. So which team takes the first victory in Group D? We're going to find out right now. Third map between Team Russia and Team Poland. Well, off we go. Team Russia in blue on the left side, ladies and gentlemen. We got Ubi on the Haka, Player on Genji, Murenas with Cassia. Panda J is playing Varian this time for their killer comp. But then we get Renella, last but not least, on Brightwing.
And to the far right in the red, currently tied up 1-1 against our opponent, Team Poland. Virtue on Muradin, Bronek on Anduin, Sasabas on Imperius, Ritsu on Deathwing, and Alvarez on Sergeant Hammer. And how hard did I butcher any of those names, Mr. Khaldor? My Polish is not good.
You're not too good on the Shishirishu. Okay.
What the hell? Shisha what?
Shishirishu. That's actually a word. One of the teams named themselves that in one of the tournaments because they wanted to see how I butcher it, and I actually nailed it because I had a couple of Polish friends. But you were not too bad. Richu may be a little bit different, but outside of that, you're totally fine. Like,
okay, fair enough.
You're good on that one.
Well, looking at our composition, it was lined up to be a bit more tanky for our Sergeant Hammer comp on the far right. I did like how it lined up in the draft to where we got some more robust frontliners. Muradin, Imperius. Muradin brings a lot of flexibility too, being able to jump on top of that Genji if he is ever to get on that Sergeant Hammer. And then, of course, Deathwing. Someone that you don't have to really worry about in the composition if you're a healer because he kind of does his own thing. And with that being said, we did have some changes to Deathwing on this last patch. I have heard he is a little bit more casting focused now compared to being melee in the past, but we'll have to see how they decide to build him up today.
Well, first of all, we have the quick attack here, and Deathwing would be very welcome in that fight if they really want to progress it further forward, because the blue team had all of their players in the battle pretty quickly, so it was a numbers advantage for a short second. But yeah, we had patches or changes with the new patch. Deathwing is definitely one of them. I already highlighted a bit earlier the quests and the mythic reward on the baseline. It's not only Deathwing though. Muradin has some pretty interesting things now too. You can always argue a little bit about stacking the auto attacks here for him, but I gotta say, if you are able to get those in, there's some pretty cool stuff that you can do with Muradin. That mythic reward is essentially insane. The question is, of course, always, do you get there? And that's especially when we're talking about a competitive environment. If you're playing a random, I don't know, you're playing an ARAM, you're playing a quick match, or you're just rocking it in solo queue in general, you might...
Bud.
That was a superhero landing kill against Varian. Nicely done, Deathwing. Good stuff. That was awesome.
Got to brace with the knees. That's what I heard from Deadpool here. So Deathwing coming in, gonna run in the middle lane and start that soaking. And I liked how Muradin Burshu here ran to the middle of the lane to make sure to soak up that experience. That is always something that we will always focus on in a lot of our games, and make sure you're getting your experience in the early game. And the two are working quite in tandem. I also do think that Muradin's gonna have a good time here, being by himself for a little bit and getting those auto attacks off. As you can see, you can step up, drop your W, and then go for your auto attacks. But Player wants to play a play now as he steps up the top lane, goes straight for him, but with a dwarf toss, he is out of there, no problem. Where's he at currently on his quest? Let's have a look. 13 attacks, Khaldor.
It's gonna take a while to get... Again, I'm not sure how realistic it's really gonna be in a competitive environment to get to that mythic reward here. If you have a really long drawn-out game and maybe you have an aggressive front line with a lot of stuns, you could potentially accelerate this a little bit. So this is the first day, the first tournament day that we have with the new patch. I would expect that a lot of teams will adjust over the next couple of weeks here, and I could see this maybe become more of a focus when you have a triple front line that is stacking tons of CC and allows him to get the stacks a bit faster.
Sure.
But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff that is going to happen, and teams have to figure this out, of course, too. Scrims or no scrims, they had a couple of days to prepare, but I would assume that over the next few weeks and matches that we get in the tournament, there's going to be tons of adjustments that the players are making.
Well, one temple apiece for both of our teams, 36 is 36, and we do have a fight for this final temple on the bottom side. Sergeant Hammer is nearby in case a fight is going to break out. The main issue right now is Dahak is going to have an advantage in terms of global pressure. He runs the top lane and starts to soak. We'll have that bury some, but here comes Deathwing, pouncing on in, jumps in, tries to go for a body block on the Varian, but Varian able to sidestep just barely with the help of Brightwing. But Deathwing, look at this, just walking forward with his 4 little legs, pushing 6 legs back here. Actually, no, it's 4 legs and 2 pairs of wings.
Don't turn him into a spider.
What's that?
Don't turn him into a spider or anything of the sorts here. But like, the thing is actually, I love that skin on Deathwing. Like, I hate that turkey skin that some people still run, but this one is awesome. It's actually interesting also that they now for Gul'dan, the new skin that is essentially going for the same style that they introduced with Thrall. Seems like people, because of the Skeletor style, are a little bit more warm to it. But having that particular style introduced to Heroes of the Storm is still super strange to me.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just like a hot purist, but like I feel like the heart of skin animations have just been so perfect that when I see the newer skins, I'm like, eh. But at the same time, we should be thankful that we're getting anything in Heroes of the Storm, so I don't want to be like too much of a hater.
The janitor is hard at work.
It will grow on me. Yeah, the janitor's doing his best, man. It's hard to do art and mop at the same time. That shit's wild. Another engage coming in here for Cassia. On the bottom left, Ritsu able to move in and get some decent damage out. Looks like he's still playing in that melee form that we used to see on the old Deathwings. And finally, this altar that's been really delayed by, what, 90 seconds so far?
Yeah.
Is being channeled. We'll see if he can get it. Giddy's on the top side. And he comes to the last second. Nice harassment.
I mean, this is for all the marbles right now. This is game 3, so both of the teams have done a great job so far. You can argue a bit about the last play on Dragonshire by Falstad, who thought they could take that fight even without level 20 talents. It backfired and they lost the map there. Could have maybe delayed this until they had their own Storm talents. But for Poland, they want to take the series. These are the 2 teams that are definitely candidates to take first and second place potentially in their group, so a victory here would go a long way, with Finland and Austria trying to upset that later. Drag on Muradin, yeah, trying to get out, and win with a rescue right there. Job well done, as Muradin is able to escape. Skullcracker on level 1, looking again for that hit, and nearly connecting that Stormbolt with Morenas.
such a close battle over this. We're almost at level 10 here, and this third altar has not been picked up. How many times have you seen this before? I don't think I can think in recent memory that I've seen a third altar delayed all the way to level 10. This is nutty.
Yeah, this is actually going like really long here. Typically, the first rotation of altars gets picked up fairly quickly, but this is definitely the exception. Another taunt on Sergeant Hammer, which is of course one of the biggest obstacles for Team Russia. Here comes the engage. They go for Varian. A lot of hits here also with Skullcracker. Varian is still alive. Valkyrie, the level 10 kicks in for the blue team. They're immediately using their rogue abilities to get the kill on Anduin, and they follow it up with Muradin being eliminated too. Double kill for the Russians as Team Poland is still waiting for their heroics.
This is why side laners are so important. The reason why the level 10 was there, Dahaka. He was able to bounce around between the middle and the top lane. He earned about another lane, a minion wave of experience and a half to get his team to level 10 quick enough. And then when the fight broke out, Taunt came forward. The fight was baited for Poland to move in, and Cassia, with her level 10 advantage, was able to pull a Valkyrie and got the pick. This is why soaking lanes are so important, ladies and gentlemen. Ubi showing up for his team, and they were able to pull off a W because of it.
Once again, Varian coming in, has no assistance though. Deathwing immediately there, they get the ult out and a perfectly timed light bomb. A work of art over here from Team Poland as they are immediately answering the Russian aggression with a kill on their own.
Honestly, beautifully done there. Full engage from Imperius, and then there was going to be a light bomb afterwards, and then a fear for good measure to push him into the towers. Great combination. I do fear in later stages those three ultimates could be a bit too costly for victories, but man, if they're able to pull that off every single time, they're going to feel really good about this game. Ritsu and crew do continue to push on forward. Imperius has been like water as he runs the top lane to soak up and sees Dahaka grabbing these sappers, but the bottom lane is the main story of the game right now. Remember, if you control the bottom lane on Towers of Doom, you are feeling good strategically.
Also, a quick reminder that Sergeant Hammer was banned multiple times against the Polish team. As I said before, tons of these teams have been scrimming against each other or have seen others scrim against them, and there is knowledge there from the players. And now with Poland picking Sergeant Hammer with such a high priority just to make sure they get her, they are trying to utilize her as best as they can. There's a lot of moving parts with the front line, the stuns, we talked about Deathwing a little bit, but Sergeant Hammer is the one thing that Team Russia will have to deal with, and so far Alvaros is doing very, very well on the hero.
It's so hard to get back there, especially with Anduin being on the comp, having that leap of faith to keep Hammer alive. And then you have, of course, a bunch of robust boys. It's like Khaldor is my bodyguard. You ain't getting past him, boy. You ain't touching me. And that's kind of how it is. There's 3 Khaldors defending this Sergeant Hammer.
Muradin again with the auto attacks over here. Virtue getting a few in. Yeah, gets the Skullcracker also, but has to be a bit careful. They're trying to focus fully on him. And the Valkyrie zipping in Muradin, and instead Sergeant Hammer gets hit, completely caught off guard by this, but Alvaro still had a Z up and get it out. And Muradin finds himself instantly back in the fight and gets murdered. 51 stacks for him. He gets the first, or he has the first reward right now. So he has that Pierce, which is kind of nice. And the cooldown reduction is of course pretty cool too. How much is that really going to matter in a big team fight? I mean, if you get that additional Stormbolt out and get a double stun in, it can matter a lot, but it's obviously not necessarily the biggest focus, and just anchoring plays and setting them up for the rest of the team is typically what you are supposed to do as a tank.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how it unfolds here. A tongue does come out, as well as an X-Strike from player. They're trying to get on top of Sergeant Hammer, but he was able to escape the fight. And the Sapper is going to be the main focus for Team Russia. But Virtue, he wants to come in. There are a few people in the area. Imperius coming from behind and goes for an Impale, getting low on HP, needs some healing.
Yeah, Varian is once again carried into the back line. And again, the follow-up perfect with the light bomb, but they just can't get the kill. And instead, Imperius falls. Deathwing jumps in very aggressively, and Bircher with Muradin is now trying to get those Stormbolts connected. They're going again for Varian, and this time they're finally getting the kill. Anduin taking down his daddy, so having some huge daddy issues that might finally be resolved as he murders his father. Deathwing goes down a moment later, but they turn it on Genji and get the counter kill.
I think you really wanted the world to know that Anduin took out his father.
Yep.
Anduin took out his daddy. Daddy issues, full of murder, bloodbath. He's going to court. He's going to be seen guilty. He has taken away the Varian.
He is evil, and I need the world to know.
Then why are you in bed with him, Khaldor? Huh?
Hey, we're not talking about that. No snuggle door today.
is being focused down, and that is actually a swing in map control. Bottom 4 is pretty hard to take back due to the sappers being on the bottom left and bottom right corner, and with an altar being channeled at the same time, that is 5 points going over to Team Poland, and we got a game on our hands, and the score is now 28 in favor of Poland to 27, which is what Russia has now.
We absolutely do. The problem that the red team still has, even with the control, is first of all, Meriden is about to die. Oh, damn, son, that was sick. He actually makes it. He's still, how is he still alive? That's ridiculous. And instead, the focus onto Genji and he's gone. That is nuts. That is insane that he survived this. And they get the counter kill. Crazy stuff here.
Incredible control, got off a couple more storm bolts in there as well, but gotta call out Bronek, who's out here playing the end when nailing the perfect heals, making sure he was in a position for a Leap of Faith, allowed for time for Meriden to use his avatar state, and then of course Imperius rolled in at the right time to turn the entire fight around. And that's why you don't want to fight underneath the tower in the bottom left, and why it's so important to control. Team Poland feeling really good about this right now as they continue to siege up on the bottom lane and clear wave after wave.
What I wanted to say earlier, though, when we had that fight breakout at the bot lane, is that one of the problems for Team Poland is that they're still behind in experience. Now, they're closing that gap slowly. They're getting the kills and they're starting to gain a bit more footing in this on this map. But yeah, 5 kills to 5, level 16 talents for the both of them. And thanks to Sergeant Hammer, they have a nice shot at that bot lane to hold control on that bell tower for longer. And the position of the next altar is perfect for them. Very hard to reach for the blue team if they can maintain control of the bell tower just a bit longer and get somebody down to the bot lane. Taunt already used, Valkyrie not doing anything, so those are important cooldowns to burn. Team Poland with a great shot of getting another 5 shots fired against the blue team.
I do like the attempt from Russia. They realized that an altar was up, and if they could find a pick right now, they have a chance to walk past this bell tower and grab it, but the attempt is not going to be paying off. And instead, Imperius will grab the shots. Here's a BFG as they're trying to get down Cassia. She does not get deleted here, but she is low, and we're going to have Imperius run ton over. And here's the big part, too, is these sappers in the bottom left and bottom right corner. Those need to be grabbed by the opposing team to get more pressure on that bottom lane. If there's some way a blue team could rotate in and stop that from occurring, that could be a window for them to get their towers back on the bottom side.
On the damage side, Cassia is doing really well, by the way. 65,000 for her. There's a lot of poking going on, not only from Sergeant Hammer, but Cassia also just looking always to boost the damage a bit. They go for Meriden again, the taunt, and Anduin on point as Meriden re-engages. Deathwing coming in with big damage. The stuns are coming out. They want to go for Varian again. Panda Jade in a little bit of trouble as we have also Imperius with the play. It's a double kill for the red team.
Valkyrie comes out, does find Anduin. Okay, well the support is now down, as he will get picked off. A 2-for-1 trade, but it looks like the sappers will be going over to Poland. With no healer being here, this poke is going to start to be an issue from Cassia, so this could be their window to finally open up this bottom tower, but they got to get a few of these hits on top of the Sergeant Hammer. There we go. There's some damage, but Birchu's on his way on over to slow that down.
Still the lead in experience though for Team Russia. I mean, the Haka is really paying off. You talked a bit earlier about how important the macro play is from them, and they are doing an amazing job on the macro side. You look over at the minion experience, and they're now nearly 7,000 experience points ahead in that category. So this is really what gives them that extra lead. But we have a triple altar phase coming up, and now with a 5-3 bell tower situation, this is a big opportunity for Poland to get an even bigger lead over their opponents.
Yeah, let's see what they can do here. They have the potential to get 15 points on the board. Genji's already trying to slow that down with the top left altar being grabbed. Sergeant Hammer currently on the bottom. Varian coming in for a flank on the bottom left bell tower right now. Wants to rotate on in. Here comes the full combo. Trying to lock down Meriden. He jumps away. And he gets hit with the polymorph, but he just has a bit too much HP. Birchu being a real issue this game.
Really ridiculous. I mean, honestly, he died a couple of times, but the amount of times that he survived when he should have died is just nuts. Like, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now they go for the fruit fly, and Brightwing gets watered into the ground. Nice. That's kill number 8 for the Polish players.
Now, what can they get with that? When you take out a support on the opposing team, typically you're going to slow down a lot of their team fighting capabilities. I would argue in Heroes of the Storm, while damage is important, support and tank gameplay is what wins most matchups. Ooh, a bit of a 1v1 on the top lane here as Dahaka is going to take away that camp. Light Bomb in the bottom lane looking for another pick before Brightwing shows up, but nothing really unfazes. But this is a mirror of what we saw in game number 2. Team Russia had pretty solid macro, especially with their double global pressure here. They are level 20 above their opponents. We just need to make sure that Poland plays safe here and gets their own level 20 and doesn't get baited into a team fight.
20 now, nearly ready for Team Poland, so they caught really up in experience, and as you said, there is still a gap, but they play around it well, and they are finding themselves in a very passive position here. Anduin waiting behind the bell tower. Eventually this is going to be likely taken back by Team Russia, but still, this is huge for Poland. 25 points against 12. They're hitting their Storm Talents in a moment. Good progress on a lot of the stacking. Again, do I think Muradin is going to get the mythic reward? Not really, but he's already getting value. Once again, they're moving in. And yes, Anduin saving
Daga.
Imperius. Sergeant
Daga.
Hammer also safe, but this is where the blue team is going to reclaim their structure.
Great leap of faith there from Anduin, but cooldowns have been used by both of our teams. Variance Taunt will be back and available. Looking over to Poland, they have all their ultimates available. Murden gets pulled in by a drag, gets silenced. He wants to ult. Doesn't even need to use it. Finally jumps out. Light Bomb comes out, and Virtue starts to heal as his level 1 talent begins to tick. But Imperius might not be so lucky. He gets full CC'd. Deathwing roars in from above, and somehow, some way, Anduin is keeping all these tanks nice and healthy. Deathwing goes in, looks for a chomp. Can he find it? Yes, he does. He takes up Cassia, and all these health bars are low for Poland, but they're healthy enough to keep marching forward.
Absolutely insane. How does Muradin not die 50 times in this game? I don't understand. Anduin with the big plays right here. And yeah, he pulls it off. Muradin then re-engages. They get kills. 10 kills to 6 now. 8 points on the core. They can get the channel, and that's going to put it down to 4. So if they're able to get the boss with that window, they would end the game here. But of course, they're now trying to split themselves pretty thin, trying to go for boss and ult at the same time. That's going to get tricky. They are starting to attack the top here while the fight rages on at the bottom of the map. I'm not so sure that they can get both, but they can at least defend the altar, and if they take the boss, then full 5-man the bot lane, this might be game.
Yeah, I like the idea of just taking the boss off the map for now. Genji will back in 3 seconds, so all Variant and Brightwing that we're trying to do right now is just delay, delay, delay. There goes the boss, 4 points flies across the map. Now Deathwing and Imperius are starting to delay, delay, delay. They want to bring all 5 members over here if they could. Cassia has just spawned, and now Russia, if they don't want to get knocked out of this best of 3, they have to win this next upcoming fight. You see them grouping up already and starting to play around the area.
Well, everybody's just like trying to control the space now, and the blue team is aiming for it. Even if they take it, it's a big gap. Deathwing comes in right away, starts to zone them back out. Genji looking for an angle. Renella already a little bit low. Here comes the kill of Cassia. They came in with a big roar. They get the kill. Counter kill attempts against Deathwing, but so far he's still alive as the Haka's trying to go for him. So is Genji, and they get him. There comes the taunt, but it's the end of the Haka as well.
Yeah, at what cost here? Genji's going to try and go in for Sergeant Hammer. Unstoppable comes out, and some armor. X marks the spot as he goes for an X strike. He does get a couple of cast-offs, so that was pretty valuable. But with 4 members down and a lone Brightwing all by herself, I think this one is surely done. And it is. 4 shots fly across the map and connect with the core, and your team that will be the winners is Team Poland.
Well done here. GG and well played in Group D.